Hello, hockey fans! Welcome back on into the neutral zone here on Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. It is heating up in the hockey world. The trade deadline is looming. General managers, player personnel, players, agents, everybody's anxious to make a move and have everybody pick a player. Are they going for it this year? Are they going to try to retool and reset? We will look around the NHL world to see who's been making moves, where guys are going, and what it all might mean when we just settle. Meanwhile, Alexander Ovechkin just keeps getting closer. He is 11 goals away now from breaking Wayne Gretzky's record. We will talk about that. We've got a fresh round of contenders or pretenders tonight. We take a look at Boston Bruins, who made a move earlier today. I think we may have next question answered. And we'll also dip into the college hockey realm. Selection Sunday is not that far away as well. Matt got in his alma mater this weekend. We'll have some thoughts on that. All that plus more coming up right here, right now in the neutral zone. Buckle it on up. Check that 5-hole. Don't get checked into the boards. Let's go. And hello, everyone. Welcome on into the latest installment of the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I am Adam Karnik. Zach Puplis is going to be along with us in just a moment. He's just finishing getting himself settled in. We have got a ton to go through on the show here tonight. The trade deadline is looming. Teams are making moves, getting ready. We're starting to get an idea of who the contenders might be and who just might be turning into pretenders before our very eyes. We've got a bunch of games to get you caught up on tonight. We're even going to take a look down into the college realm. Lots to get through on the show this evening. Zach, how are you, sir?
I'm great, Adam. How are you, man?
I'm hanging in there. I'm with it. So here we go.
Woo!
Lots to get to on the show here tonight. So before we get too much into it, we're going to have a quick word from our sponsors, and then we will get you caught up on all the news and notes from around the NHL world today. This is the Neutral Zone on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back after this. IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back on into the neutral zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Adam and Zach back with you here. Lots to be going to on the show this evening. But let's start off, Zach, like we always like to do. Let's take a look at the scores going on right now in the NHL, shall we? It's a relatively busy night in the NHL tonight. 10 games on tap. Get us caught up on some of those scores, Zach.
Yes, sir. We've got Predators and Bruins knotted up at 3 apiece in the third period. Sharks and Sabres. Sharks lead that one 3-1 in the third. My Red Wings are down 2-0 to the Hurricanes with 9:55 left in the third. Lightning are up against the Blue Jackets 4-2. The third period just started in that one. Flames are up big on the Flyers 5-2. About 5 minutes have gone by in the third. Jets and Islanders. Islanders are up 2-1. That's almost to the end of the second period. Devils and Stars. Stars are up 1-0 in the second. A couple minutes gone in that one. Penguins and Avalanche just started, tied at 0. Ducks and Oilers just started, tied at 0 as well. And still to come tonight, about the time we finish up here on the air, we've got Kraken and Wild.
Excellent. So yeah, a fairly calm slate, I feel like, tonight. Not quite as crazy and filled as we've had in times past. By the way, want to welcome Larry B into the show. He is excited to be here. Hockey time. He also wants to make it official that he really, really, really hates his Anaheim Ducks. He just, he's very upset that they lost to the Blackhawks over the weekend. And frankly, you should be ashamed of losing to the Blackhawks, sir. That is terrible. We're going to be playing some contender or pretender later on in the show tonight. The Ducks absolutely are pretenders this season. And as we're getting ready to talk some trade stuff later, it's remarkable how many Ducks players are being talked about as being shipped out away from Anaheim right now. There are lots of Anaheim players that might not be playing for Anaheim come this time in a week. That they may be playing elsewhere very soon.
Right. Well, for losing to Chicago, we need the lady from Game of Thrones. Shame.
Well, we can talk about the Blackhawks a little bit because it does tie into kind of the theme of the show tonight, where we're going to be talking a lot about trades and rumors of trades and things like that. The Blackhawks made a trade over the weekend, and it was, I thought, now obviously I'm a Blackhawks guy. I will admit that I'm feeling more and more comfortable with them again after all their off ice problems and things like that. Now it's just they're struggling for hockey reasons as opposed to PR reasons. Tell me what you think of this move, though. They had Seth Jones, a defenseman who he's in the third year of an 8-year deal, and he has been underperforming in that deal. They traded Jones and a 4th-round pick, not in this summer's draft, but next summer's draft in 2026, to the Florida Panthers. The Panthers, obviously, they are in contention. They are trying to make a third run at the Cup here, and they need some help defensively. So they take on Jones and his relatively hefty contract. We're talking $8 million a year for the next 4 years, 4 or 5 years. The Blackhawks are hanging on to a little bit of that salary, and they send back in return a 1st-round pick that will either convert in 26 or 27, and young goalie Spencer Knight, who has been their backup goalie this season. He was a 1st-round pick back in 2019, and then came to the club proper right away. As soon as he was done with collegiate hockey, where he was a finalist for the Hobie Baker Award, he does not go to the mine. He does the come play for 3 or 4, just finished playing in the Frozen Four final. Now I'm going to go play in the NHL for a couple days. Cause that's just an easy jump to do.
He did the Kale McCarr. Got it.
Right. Exactly. He does that for 4 or 5 games. Then the next season doesn't spend any time in the minors, goes straight to the majors. Didn't 100% work out right out of the gate there, had up and down success, had to deal with some OCD. So he actually wasn't part of their 2 cup finals runs these last couple of years.
Okay.
But then down in Charlotte last year, he won over 40 starts. And this year, his goals against average is under 3, and he's only 23 years old. I think the Blackhawks made a heck of a deal.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
I think the Blackhawks made a heck of a deal there.
especially if Jones was underperforming, and you've got this guy that could be your goalie of the future for the next 10 plus years. I mean,
Exactly. And then Knight winds up playing last night against the Kings. 41 saves in his Blackhawks debut.
sure.
41 saves on 42 shots. He made 17 saves in the first period alone last night.
Oh my gosh.
At one point, the Blackhawks have been outshot 8-0 in the first period, and Blackhawks Twitter was, "Yep, welcome to Chicago, Spencer. Get used to this. Get used to this. No support." But yeah, that is a heck of a move on the part of the Blackhawks. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's great. I think it was a steal of a move for a guy that they were looking to move anyway, to be able to get a first round pick and potentially their starting goalie for many years to come. I think it was a fantastic move by the Hawks.
Essentially 2 first round picks, because he was a first round pick.
Exactly. Yes, he was a first round pick, and it then allows the Blackhawks to potentially move the 2 goalies that they have, Peter Mrazek and Arvid Soderblom. Soderblom is going to be a restricted free agent at the end of this season, and he's been playing well. He's also young, so they could decide to hold on to him, or they could deal Peter Mrazek, who, he's having a down year this year, but he is a veteran, and he is a guy that has played well throughout his career.
Exactly.
If you're looking for that veteran backup for the playoff run, kind of a thing, Peter, you could do worse than a Peter Mrazek. And now if you're the Blackhawks, oh, hey, look at this. We have a spare goalie. Anybody want a spare goalie? If you want to move one of those, that's an easy thing to do.
Did they have a surplus of defensemen that they, was he expendable, or is it just one of these, we're so crappy this year, it doesn't matter?
It was a combination of, he was playing poorly. The team obviously was playing poorly. Jones was expensive. He was $8 million a year and going to be with him for a long time. And there was no, he's only going to get older, which typically doesn't mean his play is going to improve. He also then kind of helped it by becoming more vocal in his displeasure with the team. He kind of was, "Oh, you're looking to move me? Oh, okay. Yeah. Then I'll start, spilling the tea basically about how I'm not happy here. Great. Now we can really ship you off to wherever we.
Let's expedite this," is what he's telling
exactly. Oh, we can accelerate this. Oh, you want to pour gasoline on the fire? Sure. we can really get this thing cooking, So
no kidding.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got Frank Nazar, who's been coming up through their system, and good things happening there. So you don't need they were able to move on relatively easily and feel comfortably there with that. So, but yeah, I saw that move over the weekend. I was like, thanks, Panthers. I mean, first of all, you're taking Seth Jones, and you're giving the Blackhawks a first round pick, and you're giving them the goalie for the future.
Right.
Thanks. I'd have been
twist my arm some more, please.
Exactly. I'd have been happy with one of those things, and you're giving me both, and all you're asking for is a fourth round pick. Done. Signed, sealed, delivered.
Underperforming, sure.
Yeah, signed, sealed, delivered. I am thrilled with this. Yes, I'm looking for the downside here, and I'm not finding it.
There you go.
Good evening, Ralph Calise, by the way, saying hello. And of course, we are never, we try very hard. Sometimes we might leave the building, but we are never offsides. we might wind up in a whole other playing surface from time to time, but then we had we had a 3-team deal come down today. You know, we're getting close to the trade deadline. We're getting closer and closer by the day. We're less than a week out now.
Friday, yeah.
And so we have a 3-team deal come down earlier today. We have the Oilers and Bruins and Devils get together on a deal to send Trent Frederick. He goes from Boston to New Jersey for salary purposes.
Okay.
And then straight over to Edmonton. On the way back, Peter Hauser goes to New Jersey. Peter Hauser goes to Boston.
Boston, okay.
And then New Jersey winds up with Shane Lachane. And then salary retention, because, you know, that's why you involve a third team in a deal, is to make money happen.
Sure.
So Trent Frederick, he's in the final year of a 2-year deal, 57 games this season. He's 8 goals, 7 assists on the year, a -14 plus-minus rating. Now, as we've discussed previously, that's really more of a defensiveman stat than a forward stat. At the same time, -14 isn't really good for anybody. You don't want to be -14 on that, especially when you've only contributed 15 points yourself. To be -14, you're not offering very. Let's see, you're not scoring. And you're not defending. What are you doing for? Explain to me your role again. What are you doing here? Why is this?
What good are you?
Yes, what good are you? Exactly. So on the one hand, and there was more that was involved in the trade. I'm sorry, I hadn't finished breaking it all down. So Peter Hauser had gone from New Jersey to Boston. Hauser immediately then also goes to the Edmonton Oilers along with Max Jones. Edmonton sends back Maximus Weiner, a 2nd-round pick in this summer's draft. Now it's St. Louis's pick, so it's dependent on where the Blues wind up. And then a 4th-round pick in next summer's draft. So what are your initial thoughts on this deal? We've got three players. We got players moving everywhere. We got salaries winding up everywhere. The accountants are earning their bonuses in spades here, figuring out who's paying what check to where to who to how, and making sure that you're all staying cap compliant at the same time.
Yeah. Wow. In terms of Frederick, I mean, it sounds like he was more of a hindrance than a help, so they're probably happy to get rid of him.
Yeah. I mean, he's a former 1st-round pick, but yeah, he's been having a rough year, to put it nicely.
Well, I mean, it's the essence of trades. I mean, they're looking to get more production out of him, and whether that's with your current team or with a different team, I mean, you got to use the carrot or the stick, you know.
Max Jones, in the meantime, he spent most of his time in the minor leagues this year. He'd played 7 games up with Boston, hadn't done much in his 7 games. He had zero points in the 7 games.
Okay.
So, you know, there's always that. There's that, hey, we'd like you to be contributing here somewhere, please, sir. Can you figure out a job that you're good at here? But he did have 21 points in 38 games in the AHL. So, you know, get your feet wet, get used to playing in the NHL a little bit, can have some results there.
There's some promise there. I see it.
Yeah, a little bit. You know, maybe that change of scenery kind of a situation, you know, maybe where it's, oh, hey, I'll go play for these guys and can better figure out a role, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
My initial thought is Boston is declaring a lane here. That, you know, we talked last week wondering, hey, what direction is Boston going to go? Is they're kind of hanging on for, you know, trying to hang on for dear life for relevancy there? Is they're only 2 points back of Detroit, but there are, you know, 4 teams separating them from a playoff spot. I feel like this is Boston declaring themselves, yeah, we're going to take a step back here, boys. We're not going to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just looking at that. There's definitely a log jam in both conferences, right, for that last wild card.
Yes. Yes. And I mean, it's not so much the points as we're looking at it. Yeah, as I mean, in the West, you've got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, you've got 4 teams within 2 points of each other for the final playoff spot. And in the East, you have 5 teams within 2 points, and then a 6th team is only 4 points back. You know, it's not really the points, it's the amount of teams.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay, we've got to do well, but all these other teams have to suck so that we can get past them.
It's the ticker on ESPN on the last week of the NFL. And he's okay, this team gets in if this team loses, and this team wins, and this team loses, and
right.
And
you need a win plus, you need a win plus this guy needs to lose, and that guy needs to lose, and that guy needs to tie, and that guy needs to fart in the wind or something, you know, and you wind up, and then you're in. Really? Yeah. I mean, so yeah, okay, technically you're alive, but
there's too much variability there. Yeah.
Yeah. There's just wait. You can only win one, you know, you can only beat one team every single night. You know, you can't beat 5 teams in a single night.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's only so much you can do. So that was, when I saw that move, that was my initial thought, was Boston is declaring, is getting ready to kind of wave the white flag a little bit, and is ready to declare itself out of the playoff race this season and try to retool, regroup, maybe not necessarily tear the whole thing down, but try to reset a little bit.
Yeah. I could see that too.
So there could be some other players on the move though between now and then. We could see, you know, the goalies. Oh my gosh, there's goalies. You know, there's going to be some goalies moved. You know, you know, there's going to be some of that. There's some scoring that could definitely go on. Who, in your opinion, and we'll kind of let this be a lead and a tie. We'll do contenders or pretenders on the flip side of the break, I think, and then we'll dive into the college stuff. In your opinion, Zach, who is a team that you would like to see make an addition here at the trade deadline? I mean, besides the Red Wings, because I know that's going to be the default answer. I know that's going to be the default answer. But who's a team that you'd like to see make some additions between now and Friday when the trade deadline hits?
Oh man. Let's see.
We just saw Florida add a defenseman. They're making a move. We're seeing Boston sail away. We're seeing Boston wave a little bit of a white flag here.
Right.
You've got a bunch of teams all in that log jam of the wild card, and a few other teams that are doing everything humanly possible to avoid the log jam. You know, the Kings, that loss to the Blackhawks last night. Whoa. Oh, that hurt. Because if they fall if they let Calgary catch them, oh man, are the Kings in trouble. You know, they're in third right now in the Pacific, but they would be the last wild card spot if they were to fall that far. The Avalanche sitting fourth in the Central have more points than the Kings do sitting third in the Pacific.
Oh my gosh. Wild. I'm going to say the ones on the cusp. I'm going to say like New York and Vancouver and Utah. Just that to make that final push to get up, out of that log jam or above it and get into wild card I don't think you can go much further than that, but to at least get the wild card.
So you want to see the Rangers go for it?
I feel like they've made the playoffs so often. I mean, it's like they'd be missing out this year for sure if they don't.
Oh man, that is a tease, because we're going to be we need to expand on that a little bit more. We're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we need to do another round of contenders or pretenders. We did this last week where we discussed if a team is really legitimately a playoff contender or if they're just yanking everybody's chain and wasting everybody's time. And I think that you and I have separate ideas about the Rangers. We're going to have to talk about that and break that down some next. You are tuned in to the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We will be right back to discuss contenders or pretenders. Tell us what you think in the chat room. Do you think the New York Rangers are contenders or pretenders? We will talk about that next on the Neutral Zone.
Are you a Tar Heel, Blue Devil, Demon Deacon, or maybe even a Gamecock? Do you cheer for the Panthers, the Canes, the Crown? And check out the Carolina Sports Update every week with me, Neil Curtis, to get the latest and greatest on all the sports action in the Carolinas. We'll be talking pro sports, ACC and SEC football, basketball, baseball, and everything in between. We'll even talk a little Formula One racing now and again. So, for the best hour on Carolina sports coverage, catch me each week on Carolina Sports Update with Neil Curtis, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, New York? This is Ricky K coming at you at the NY State of Sports, a new show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Listen to me every Thursday afternoon as we bring you the latest takes on the Yankees, Mets, Jets, Giants, Knicks, Nets, Rangers, Devils, and Islanders. Plus, you get some college hoops and what's the local sports events going on in the area. It's a state that never sleeps, so why not get the opinions and sports takes that never sleep? Again, every Thursday, 2 p.m. to the NY State of Sports. We'll see you then.
And welcome back on into the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Adam and Zach back with you here, continuing the NHL discussion. We will get into some college talk as well before we get out of here. Zach, I know you spent time over the weekend watching your alma mater play some hockey, so we definitely want to get into that and talk about that. But we started this segment last week, and we both had a lot of fun with it, and we said, you know what? Let's do this again. Let's keep doing this. Let's keep this going. And Larry B is already heartily on board with it, saying he likes the topic. The topic at hand is contenders or pretenders. Now, the way the game is played is very straightforward and simple. We're gonna name a team that right now is either in the playoffs or right on the cusp of being in the NHL playoffs. And we're going to debate and discuss and go back and forth. Do we think that they are actually legitimately a playoff contender, or are they just kind of wasting everybody's time, yanking everybody's chain? And when all is said and done, they are going to wind up on the outside looking in, wishing that they weren't pretenders. And tonight, for our topic of discussion, the New York Rangers, at one of these teams that has underperformed all season long. My goodness. This was a team that this was a team that I picked to come out of the East. I figured that this was going to be their last gasp effort to try to make a run. And here they sit on the 4th of March with 21 games left on their schedule. They are 31, 26, and 4. They are at 66 points. They are currently sitting in 5th place in the Metro. They are tied with the Red Wings for the final wild card spot. The Red Wings currently hold it because they've played one less game than the Rangers. But a loss tonight for the Red Wings, as we take a quick gander over at the. When did the Sharks find offense? I just saw their score. They just beat the Sabres 6-2. When did the Sharks find
Holy
offense?
crap.
That's a little frightening. But we're gonna clue in here. The Red Wings have lost to the Hurricanes 2-1. Was the final score there. Jordan Stahl, ultimately the game winning goal there for the Hurricanes. So that technically, now that everything's updated, technically now the Rangers are in the final wild card spot with the Red Wings losing tonight in regulation. They trade spots. The Rangers right now are in the final spot in the East. Zach, are the Rangers contenders or pretenders?
I'm with you. I started off the year thinking, okay, this might be the window closing. They've made Eastern Conference Finals, at least last year, maybe even a couple of years in a row now. Because I look back at the playoff streak. The playoff streak itself isn't really that long, but it was just that they got to the Eastern Conference Finals, wound up losing. So I just feel like the window's closing, and they need to take the biggest advantage of it that they can. Go get one more strong player and try to make one last run at it. Is there somebody in mind or a position in mind that you'd like to see them go address? I mean, they're one of the teams that, if you're just thinking out loud, they're one of the teams where you wouldn't say goalie. You've got one of the best goalies in the world there in New York. They're not going to be shopping for a Peter Mrazek or a John Gibson from Anaheim or anything like that right now. They've got their goalie. If they're having to go to a backup, something has gone horribly wrong. Oh no, yeah, I'm absolutely right there with you. Man, You got some good centers: Rempe, Trocheck, Zibanejad, left wings, Lafreniere, the Bread Man. So maybe defenseman or right wing, I guess. But yeah, their goalie situation is definitely solid with Shesterkin and Quick.
Yeah. You've got Igor Shesterkin, and Shesterkin can't go. We've got Jonathan Quick. We'll be fine, thanks.
He's only won 2 Stanley Cups.
Yeah, exactly. And then he ran into the buzzsaw that was the early 10s Blackhawks when he didn't win the cup,
Yeah, because he would have won it twice with the Kings, so 12 and 14, and once with Vegas, so 3. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. That's definitely saying something when your backup has won the cup 3 times.
Yeah, they don't need help at goalie. They need skater. If they're gonna add.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's where they would.
If they're gonna add. And Larry is siding with you on this one, by the way. He is saying contenders. I'm thinking the opposite at this point with the Rangers. I feel like the Rangers are pretenders at this point. We have seen them consistently struggle all year long. They had all the problems with their captain and their locker room infighting and all those kinds of struggles that they had. You had Elliot Friedman come out this weekend and say that they're actively trying to shop Riley Smith to somebody, one of their pending free agents. Now they haven't moved him yet. Nothing's done until it's done. You could,
don't worry, there's still time.
Exactly. I mean, you could shop a guy and say, you know what, nobody's giving us anything we like. You know what? Well, sure, we'll go buy. Until you start selling, you could be a buyer. There's nothing to stop you from it. It just, to me, they're right now, they're 5th in the Metro. They're 2 points behind Columbus, who they're another. We're going to need to do a subject on the Columbus Blue Jackets of contender or pretender. The fact that they are in the playoff discussion at all this season is tremendous to me. After the offseason to end all off, the horror. I challenge you to come up with a worse offseason than what Columbus has been dealing with this year. Calgary would like a word in that conversation, but Columbus definitely wins that debate. And then speaking of Calgary, they're right there in the discussion as well. We're gonna have to talk about those two once the trade deadline goods passed and we're back at it. There are going to be some teams we're going to have to take a look at in this segment in the future here.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
You're talking about Columbus. Yeah. Just look at the Stadium Series this past weekend, Red Wings versus Blue Jackets at the Horseshoe, the colors being flip-flop from what's traditionally there. So, if it feels weird, and you think you might need to get your eyes adjusted. Nope. You don't need to adjust your TV either. They beat the Red Wings 5-3 there. And then followed it up with another win against the Red Wings. Stadium Series, Kane got a goal. DeBrincat got 2. Kane got an assist as well. And then Columbus just took over from there. I mean, Adam Fantilli got a goal. Olivier got a goal. Danforth, and then 2 other guys got goals too. I mean, it's just the whole team, was definitely getting even scoring from everybody.
Yeah, and that's kind of been some of it with Columbus all season is obviously you're missing a huge scorer there. So it's just everybody else picking up the load. I loved a video I saw from over the weekend from the Stadium series that was Patrick Kane came back to the bench, and the Red Wings head coach, who was mic'd up, looked at Kane and was, "Did you block a shot out there?" Yeah, I blocked a shot. Really? I want to see the mark. It shows in the mark. No, that's painted on. Sorry, that's not from a puck. That's eyeliner. You painted that on.
I love it. Nice.
Kane, of course, is notorious for not exactly being the most willing defender. He saves his energy for the offensive zone.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, since you brought it, we'll close the door real quick on contenders or pretenders. I'm gonna say I feel like the Rangers are pretenders. That's my feeling on it. I feel like this team is just too many problems all season long. But until they start selling guys, Elliot Friedman can report it all he wants if they want to, but until they actually do,
sure,
they haven't sold him yet. They could start buying, but that's my feeling on it. You let us know your thoughts. For those of you watching live across YouTube or Twitter, let us know. Do you think that the Rangers are contenders or pretenders? Let us know in the comments. You can hit us up on Twitter. We are at IESR Neutral Zone on Twitter. I am at Adam_Karnik. Zach is at the Puplis. You can hit us up there. Let us know your thoughts on the Rangers. Are they contenders or pretenders? Zach, you brought it up, so let's talk about it real quick. The Stadium series, the Red Wings and the Blue Jackets over the weekend playing some outdoor hockey. It was good weather for it.
Yeah, I mean, any chance you get to do outdoor hockey, man, you don't pass it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are always fun. Those are always good opportunities. Those are always good opportunities to take advantage of. The Blue Jackets winning it 5-3 over the Red Wings.
Was hoping for a better outcome, but yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, Columbus only got out of 21 shots. How did 5 of those get into the net?
Oh, yeah, good point. Dang.
Larry is appreciating the series, the Contender or Pretender series, by the way. And he also has to throw in there about his Ducks, whatever's worse than a pretender.
A poser.
Yeah. Oh man, that's harsh, sir. Wow. Anaheim Ducks posers. Wow.
I mean, that's worse than a pretender. I mean,
it is. I mean, I was thinking Cleveland Browns. So
he asked, I answered,
very fair.
But Cleveland Browns
Larry says he'll take it. I'll take a poser. Oh man. Wow. Feel the love here tonight, Anaheim. My goodness. The poor Ducks, they're trying. Just because their general managers have been incompetent doesn't mean they're not trying.
Right.
They just suck at it. That's all.
Right. Yeah.
They're just bad. They're just bad at it. It's not their fault. It's not. Well, I mean, it kind of is. Now, going back to the Stadium series. Now, to be fair, I want to make sure that I'm crediting the proper goalie here for the Red Wings from this weekend. Now, to be fair to Cam Talbot, he only let in 4 of the 5 goals for Columbus. The last one was an empty netter, but it's only 16 shot. That's only 16 saves on 20 shots. That's 80%. That's last we checked, not good.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently Larry says I went too far. Cleveland Browns, that's just too harsh. So poser is fine. Cleveland Browns, we just can't have that. That's too far. Good. Well, okay. We found the limit. Glad we know where it is. I will do my best now to not cross it again.
I mean, they don't even have a mascot. They just have a color. Like, I mean, at least
they've got
the Ducks have a mascot.
This is true. This is true. This is true. This is true. But this was a good stadium series too, in the sense that, I mean, it's two teams pushing for playoff relevancy here too. So it wasn't just the spectacle of being outdoors. There was purpose and meaning behind, this was important for both these teams as they're sitting there right in the Eastern Conference wildcard hunt.
You're absolutely right. I mean, especially with the juxtapose it with the previous one we had, like your guys' Blackhawks and St. Louis. Like that one, it was definitely more one-sided, and there was less relevancy, less meaning, because the Blackhawks are so far out of it.
Well, it's not like the opponent was any better. It was the Blues. For the Winter Classic, you had the Blues and the Blackhawks, two teams that are going absolutely nowhere. Both of them had fired their head coaches by that point. But here in this one, you've got, here are two teams that are, vying for the playoffs. That's what you're supposed to do, NHL. That's how it's supposed to work.
Right.
That's how these things are supposed to be done.
Well, is there a hierarchy to these things? Like, is Stadium Series one level down from Winter Classic, or is it just another way to get butts and seats outside?
It's another way to get butts and seats outside. The NHL, I think, would officially say that the Winter Classic is the more prestigious. That's the one that's typically on New Year's Day. So, on the major holiday, not this season though, Gary Bettman.
That also threw everybody off.
We discussed that a couple months ago, and it was amazing how fast we fixed the Winter Classic. A, have it on the holiday, and B, don't pick two teams that suck. Wow, we fixed it. Well, way to go.
Oh my God.
That took all of 5 minutes and not even an entire segment here, folks. And we did it for free.
Yeah, exactly.
We did it for free, everybody. Whereas the Stadium Series, that's typically they'll do it that first weekend in March, and it'll be, they pick a football stadium somewhere, and heck, they've done that one in Southern California before, which has been interesting when it's 70 degrees outside and you're trying to keep an ice rink from melting.
Right. Where's Mr. Freeze when we need him? You're
right. Here's a fun one. Sir, it's 75 degrees. Well, you got to keep that ice frozen. How?
Don't care. Just do it.
Just do it. Just make it happen. I don't care how. Just do it. Boone Jenner. I did like this quote from Boone Jenner. Definitely knew this day was going to be a special, but I was still blown away. Coming here today with the pep rally, the fans outside the stadium already, the walk-in, and then seeing the crowd in warm-up. I mean, warm-up was pretty much sold out. I knew Columbus was going to show up, and they did. What an atmosphere. What an experience for us. A great day.
Very good.
Oh, Larry's trying to stir the pot here in the chat room now. Who's the best player from every pro sport that you guys feel would be a good hockey player? Ooh, okay. As we've got 5 minutes left in the show.
I got mine.
Go for it, because I've got some names rattling around in my head. Go.
Well, seeing how much Draymond likes to fight, yeah, and he subbed into a football game at one point in a spring game one time, so he's not prone, he's not, unfamiliar with doing different sports, so I could see him doing a hockey game.
I like that.
I guess you just got to make sure that he's fleet on his feet. Like, that's the thing I was remarking at most at Friday night. Like, you forget that they have to balance on this, millimeter thick blade, like, because they just make it look effortless.
Larry's offering up in the chat room. He'd like to see Jason Kelce.
Okay. He's got the beard.
Oh, he does. Oh, that playoff beard. Oh, that would be a thing. Now, what position would you see Jason Kelce? I see Kelce, and to me, he's a goalie. That he's a goalie first and foremost. That's a goalie to me.
Just because of his size.
Yeah, just the sheer size. And could you imagine him on skates coming towards you?
Oh gosh, right? Ooh.
Yeah, they would be a bit terrifying, honestly.
Freight train.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this giant freight train coming at you. Boy. All right, I'm gonna kind of go a little different here. I'm gonna go baseball with it, because football players, you have to be just so you just have to be such hulking human beings in order to be a football player. I mean, even a small football player anymore is, just a mammoth of a human being. That seeing them on, it's too many of them are, oh, well, they have to play goalie. They have to play goalie. They have to play goalie. They have to play goalie.
Right.
So that gets a little boring. Baseball. Oh man. Who would be, I mean, Aaron Judge would be interesting, just because he's just such a huge human being. But he could fly. Pete Crow Armstrong from the Cubs. You put him, I mean, he already can move. You put him on skates, he would be doing laps around the entire, once he figured out how to move, he'd be doing laps around the rink, trying to just constantly flying around. Flying around. Larry's having some fun in the chat room with this.
Good.
Having some fun there with it. So, well, Zach, we're getting towards the end of the show, but I know that you had some fun this weekend. You got to go see your alma mater, as you're sporting the hat there. For those of you who are listening later on in the week as a podcast, on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, where have you, Zach is a very proud alumni of Michigan State, and he's wearing his Sparty winter cap tonight. You went down to South Bend and saw Sparty take on Notre Dame. So tell us about your weekend there in South Bend.
Sure thing. We knew that they were in contention for the Big Ten, and we went to the same game last year, so it was a good time. They lost last year, so this was going to be the test whether I was the jinx or not. Well, they started out 2-0, and it only just grew from there. Notre Dame, did make it interesting here and there by getting an extra goal or two. Especially there was one part where we got a goal, and then like 10 seconds later they got a goal.
Woo!
So, well, the final was 5-2, Michigan State. So I'm not the jinx. And they had to keep pace with Minnesota in order to clinch a share of the title. And Minnesota lost Friday night, and I think they won Saturday. And so because we won both nights, we were able to maintain the same level with them. And so we wound up co-champs with Minnesota. It's back-to-back Big Ten titles for Michigan State, regular season titles. The very first time since the start of the Big Ten Conference, it's only the second time, sorry, for a team to capture consecutive crowns. I think Minnesota won it like the first couple of years. But the hockey conference has only been around for like 10 years. They got goals on Saturday from Tiernan Shandy and Shane Vagnahi. I guess each of them got a pair of goals plus an extra one to get the 5-2 margin. And it was actually both. I was checking the score Saturday night coming home, and I saw it was 3-1. I'm like, okay, come on, keep it up. And then I get back, I'm like, this is 5-2. I'm like, wait, hang on. Are we sure this isn't last night's? Like, so
deja vu all
nights.
over.
What's that?
Deja vu all over again.
Right. So both nights had 5-2 identical scores. And like you said, like with the Red Wings, you know, he only technically let in 4 goals because the 5th one was an empty netter. And I was sitting there watching the game. I'm like, okay, I wonder when they're going to pull their goalie. And they, you know, normally you think of that when they're 1 goal down. Well, in this case, they were 2 goals down. I'm like, well, they might still do it. It's, you know, it's all just risk versus reward. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So sure enough, they pulled their goalie, and sure enough, we got an empty netter to seal the deal. And because of that, those 2 wins. So we got the regular season title. We're co-champs Minnesota. They won the season series over Minnesota. I think we got like 7 out of 12 possible points or something like that. But because of that, we're the number 1 seed in the Big Ten tournament. So we get the bye. Everybody else has to face off this weekend. This weekend, they're a best-of-3 series. You've got number 2 Minnesota versus number 7 Notre Dame, number 4 Michigan versus number 5 Penn State, and number 3 Ohio State versus number 6 Wisconsin. So MSU gets the bye, and we'll get the lowest, or I guess the highest rating? No, should be
the lowest remaining seed.
Yeah, low. It's just weird how they. Yeah, so you know, number 7, number 6, number 5, so on is who we're gonna play next weekend, the 15th, and then the finals are March 22nd, and the semis. So the first round is best of 3. The semis and the finals are single elimination.
Good stuff. Good stuff there from the Big Ten. Yeah.
Yep. So then the winner gets the auto bid, but then Minnesota and Michigan State and some of the other teams are still, you know, they're just that good in the rankings that they can probably get in at large, even if they like say Minnesota wins the tournament. Michigan State would still probably get an auto bid, or not an auto bid, but a at large bid because of how good their resume and their record was this year.
Yeah, we talked about that previously with the Big Ten. The Big Ten will definitely be getting a generous number of at-large bids on Selection Sunday, so that'll definitely be something to keep an eye on in the coming weeks. Well, that is going to do it for our show here tonight. Lots of thank yous to put out. First of all, of course, thank you to each and every one of our sponsors here at IE Sports Radio. Planet Jerky, premium brisket beef jerky, the brisket on a whole other planet. Go to planetjerky.net to place your order. They offer free shipping on all orders $50 and above. Vital Apparel, the brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. You're going to be working out at the gym trying to get rid of the winter coats that we've all put on. You're going to need some threads while you're doing that. So go to vitalapparel.com to place an order, and at checkout, use promo code IESR to get 15% off of their comfortable and inspiring gym wear. We also want to say thank you to Raw Nutrition. As long as you're working out, you're going to need supplements to maximize that workout. Go to getrawnutrition.com to get those supplements. Use the promo code IESR at checkout for 10% off of that order. Thank you also to Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. Go to isportsradio.com/Seal the Deal Wax Seals. And place your order, personalize those letters, stamps, anything that you are sending out, giving it to a personal service touch. Thank you, of course, also to everybody that hung out with us in the chat room. Larry B, the star and overlord of all things IE Sports Radio. Thank you for all the hard work you do behind the scenes. and then for hanging out here with us on a Tuesday night. Thank you also to Ralph Believe for hanging out with us in the chat room as well. Thank you to each of the 396 people that tuned in to watch the show tonight live as well. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate that. Thank you to everyone that tuned in later on in the week on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, anywhere you can podcast you can listen to this show. We will be back. Well, let's see. Next week is a little up in the air. We will definitely be back 2 weeks from tonight. We'll be breaking down the trade deadline. We're playing around with the hitters and defenders. Until then, be good. We will see you